What is up, everyone, and welcome back to yet another live stream. My name is Lewis, also known as Mr. Camera Junkie, and welcome to the Camera Junkie live stream. This is episode 118. Yes, that's 118 consecutive weeks without skipping a beat of the Camera Junkie live stream. And as always, I thank you for taking the time and hanging out here with me. Today, we're just hanging out actually because some unforeseen circumstances and some people happened someone happened to stop by and needed my attention, and because of it I wasn't able to get any notes together or any topics to record a podcast or anything like that. So today we're just hanging out and seeing what questions you guys might have, what's new out there, what's happening, what's in the happening. And but as always, first thing that we do is check the chat to see who's here in the crew. And if it is your first time here, please introduce yourself to the Camera Junkie crew here and get the nice Camera Junkie welcome. And and let's see, first right off the bat we have John saying hello to everyone. We also have Mr. Moderator. Oh, those are kind of small, so let's embiggen those. Here, let's move this. That looks good there. We unlock. Let's check John's comment again. John, there we go. That looks good. And there we have Mr. Moderator saying hello to the fam. Randy, thoughts and prayers are with you, sir. He's saying hi to Paul and to everyone, saying a beautiful day here in San Diego. I'm glad to hear it. Saying hello to me. Michael's in the house, also saying happy Saturday to everyone. All right. Richard Sarkeesian's in the house. Sarkeesi. All right. And Gretchen is also saying hello. All right. Well, like I had just mentioned, I did not get any time to actually make any notes or get a topic that I wanted to talk about, because my workflow for Saturdays usually consists of, searching and, basically selecting which is the best topic that I want to cover, and then, hitting that subject hard so that I have the best information to create my assumption, so to speak. But this week I did hear about some new cameras that are rumored to be coming out for the Sony lineup. Apparently there's 3 of them. One of them that's very intriguing is a full frame ZV series camera. So that one's gonna be very interesting, and we'll see exactly what comes out. I believe I touched a little bit on it last week or the week prior when I was talking to D, but yeah, that one's gonna be very intriguing. But there are confirmed that there's 3 new cameras on the way for 2023, so that's always great news, because when one manufacturer comes out with something good or something innovating, the other ones scramble to catch up or try to leapfrog them in that case, and try to actually one up them as far as the technology goes. And then that's when your system, your mount of choice, so to speak, your ecosystem, and what you decided to go with could benefit from it. And as of a while ago, I made a live stream on the new Panasonic camera, and that one really is doing well, and people seem to be loving it. And now we look forward to future iterations of the new Panasonic cameras that have always been good, as far as the codecs that they use, the stabilization in body. They have a lot of benefits, but the one thing is that they couldn't focus and now that they can, that's a very viable, player in this space, in the creative and photography, videography space. So it's always good to look forward to. So that's always, like I said, it's always a good thing when there's competition. We as the client win, we as the customers win. So hey, Callie's in the house. Callie, cute. How are you? Saying what it do, MCJ and everyone. Albert's in the house saying hello. So is Tony hanging out here saying Dímelo Luis. Melanie is here as well, with waving in, so to speak. Says you kept us overtime in class today. No, it actually had nothing to do with class because that time is allotted for. But I had someone call me right after and basically needed to talk to me, needed my attention. And as a family friend, there's no way that I couldn't make the time for Jonathan. That's family. So with that being said, that's what was kind of out of the norm, but definitely necessary, and I'm glad that I was able to be there for him. And that's basically it. So because of it, I wasn't also gonna let that be just the end all and be all of the live stream. So this is a hangout at the end of the day. It's what I do to have fun, and a lot of times, I do my best with the time that I had. Just today I didn't have anything to really put my thoughts down, but because of it, any questions that you guys might have, boom, I'm ready to answer. Let me see. Yeah, we have a question here from John that says, if you were to add a piece of gear to the studio, what would you choose? Ooh, that's a good question, because I have been getting an itch, right? And I'll tell you the truth. I guess the itch that I'm scratching right now, the elbow right now, is that I'm probably interested in this new ZV camera with the full frame. And it's just because it's a newer camera, more video centric, and it's full frame. So it could be an ideal replacement for something that I have here, but I have to be honest, I'm super happy with my A6100. So I have had no need to upgrade. Like, not even to the A6600, like the flagship of the APS-C line. And like I said many times before, if I needed my log footage, I have that camera right there on the shelf. Boom. My Sony A7R2, which I have the ability to do that. The one thing that I'm missing out on right now would be like the higher end 10-bit codec, which I do understand. I'm not messing around with that, but I'm also not color grading at the moment either. So for my workflow and for the content that I'm creating myself, these cameras are adequate. So let me put a little thought into that, because when it comes to audio, once I get my Rodecaster Pro back, because I had to send it in, once I get that back, that's kind of pretty much settled. So then, what gear would I? You know what? To be honest with you, like, talking about me in particular, right? And let me make sure I'm answering this question correctly. So I'm gonna put it back up on the screen. If you were to add a piece of gear to my studio, what would you choose? And honestly, I just thought about it because it is something that I have thought about before, and I'm gonna go to my C camera over here to better illustrate, and it would have to be my monitors. Now, they're still good, but I am not dealing with anything, not even 1440p. These are 1080p television LCDs. Now, they were the top of the line when I got them, but I think they were like either 2011 or 2012 models, so definitely over 10 years old. I am fortunate that I got two of them. So I have two of the same ones right here, and those two have been good enough even on the refresh rates that like all of my images actually look really good. And I have to also put a little asterisk on it, because a lot of why these TVs still look really good have to do with my computer. Now, I'm giving you my experience, so I'm giving you the information from my own experience and something that I can prove to myself over and over again by simply turning on my PC. So underneath my desk here, I have a Windows PC, and when I have it turned on and I switch this television here to the second HDMI slot, right? So once I switch it to the second input, that's connected directly to that computer. So this same, monitor television will then turn into my Windows computer, and I'm still have my Mac computer connected to the one on the right, and the colors and the saturation are completely different. And Randy knows the hardware that I have here. He gifted that to me, and I'm super thankful for that computer. I've made as much use of it as I possibly can, and I use it for gaming. And when I turn it on, even with the 1080 GT cards that it has built into them, they do not give me the same color rendition as my Mac computers. So that's one thing that I definitely give to Apple, that the colors and the reproduction on it is just so much better, and that's just straight out of the box. So I'm literally comparing my studio computer on the right monitor and my Windows computer on the left monitor, and there's this color pop that's missing from the Windows computer. That's basically the best way that I could explain it. In photography terms, it's less saturated. It's a flatter image. It's missing so much contrast. The image that I get from my Mac computers hands down beats it a million times over. I can't emphasize that enough. So that's that when it comes to that. But I probably would look into getting a monitor duo set, because that's why it's tough for me to switch them out, because I need to have two monitors. So I would be literally having to switch them both out. And if I do so, I'll probably look at something with a higher refresh rate, 120 hertz, or 120 frames per second refresh rate on both of the LCDs. Doesn't even need to be 4K, but if I can get something into the 1440s with that at an adequate price, that would probably be my next upgrade for my studio. And that's just, to enhance my own experience. Right? Because when it comes to what I'm producing as far as live streams, 4K, so on and so forth, these are walking, like, they're, punching way above their weight, right? So good. And so good that I've had them for so many years. Now, I can't tell you which one's which unless I look at the serial numbers in the back, because I forgot. But one of them is much like older in my possession than the other, because I had one for so long that I just kept getting impressed on how good it just, it kept surviving, that I was like, you know what, this television has done so well, let me look for another one. And I so happened to be lucky enough to find the same exact model, same exact size, for like $89, because it was an older television on eBay. I was like, done, send it. And then now I have the matching pair, and they have a nice aesthetic as well. Like, I have no problems with them. Here, let me show you this real quick. Like, their touch button, so to speak. So I'm just gonna wave my hand in front of it and you'll see the menu pop up. So all the functionality on how to change, like the menus, the volume and everything is literally like touch. And it has like this Apple-esque, like old school iPad theme to these LCDs. They're very thin, 60 hertz, and they work very well, but that's pretty much what I would change next. And then after that, I would probably see about upgrading cameras again, but it's so overkill. Because I think that if I were to upgrade a camera, I would be upgrading my photography camera so that I can take better photos. Yeah. Because I'll probably be looking at something like a Sony Alpha. In all sincerity, I'll have to do a little research, right? But if budget wasn't an issue, then I would say a Sony Alpha 1, right? It's gonna have everything more than what I need. Or maybe the R5 that just came out with that new crazy tilty flippy all functioning photography and videography LCD on the back with all the codecs, all the latest and greatest, and that's more than adequate with 33 megapixels. No, that one, listen to what I'm telling you, that one's the 61 megapixels. Yeah, you'll be able to do 8K. So I'll probably be doing the A7 R5. I'll probably stick to the R series because it will do everything that I needed to do as far as video goes, and then everything in photography. My ideal setup would probably be an A7S3 and an A7 R5. That combination right there will give me everything that I want for photography and everything that I want for video, both autofocus, like the whole nine. That would be it. All right. So let's see, because I just went on a rant. So LCDs first and then cameras. Okay, let's see. The next question. Okay, it says, what's the mini monitor in front of you? Okay, so let's go back to this one. Oh, this is the one that I'm looking at. Here we go. Boom. Well, this is my Mac Mini computer. I'm just going to lift this up because it's on an arm. You can see my Mac Mini is just underneath it. Right here. And this is an Insignia 19-inch, but it's also a 1080p LCD. It's also a television. So happens that that's what seems to last the test of time when it comes to monitors. But also a television, nice and small. And as you can see, this is where I have my Discord. So just in case I do flub up something, I have my moderators like Paul that's in here, Kevin, Randy, that can let me know, also John, that can let me know if something's wrong. But sometimes, to be honest, I go on my rants and I'm like just so zoned out that I'm not even looking at the Discord. So still working on that one. But yeah, then this mini monitor here, this is a Aperture brand. Let me see. It's the V screen, like Victor dash screen, V screen, VS2. Now it is a camera monitor. Like, it's not the recorder, but it's a camera monitor. So it's designed to receive inputs, both analog and HDMI from the camera rig, and it's a small 7-inch LCD monitor that's designed for, like just field monitoring your camera while you're on set, so on and so forth. It was through a friend Michael on the Mighty Networks community. That's part of the Tom Buck and Heather Ramirez community, the Just Create More community from Mighty Networks. And it was through there that I was able to contact Michael, and I picked this up used. They don't make them anymore, that's why I would recommend it. But any 7-inch monitor you can find, like a Lilliput, I've seen some like that are pretty inexpensive on Amazon for like $120. And it has some cool features because I'm able to attach the teleprompter, and I don't have to change pretty much anything on my computer's end. I can program the monitor itself to invert the image or flip it so that it can bounce off and work as a teleprompter. And that's actually what I'm using right now to read your questions. I'm actually using this little monitor here, having the reverse image, and using this desk view teleprompter to actually have everything there, so that when I am looking at this camera, I'm looking at the camera as I read everything, instead of having like my face off to the side, which I call zoom face. Like whenever you're in a Zoom meeting, you're always like this, yeah, absolutely. So that side zoom face, instead of having that, I prefer this look from my scene. So I have all that information there. But the thing is that I only have like 2 lines of your comments. So as they start stacking underneath me, I can't see them. Paul said mine would be an M2 Pro Mini. Paul, you didn't upgrade with this latest release? Because I thought this is exactly what you were waiting for as far as the computer goes. Okay. We'll just skip over that. Okay, we have a question here. It says, I'm looking to get rid of my yoga studio lights and get something low profile for my talking head LinkedIn stream. Would you be so kind to recommend something as I start this process? That's super interesting, because we were looking at unconventional things, or we were talking about it last week. And it really depends, right? Because there really isn't anything that's like really low profile. Let me correct myself, because there is a name of a brand of lights that they have an LED panel that is like a flexible like pad that even allows you to roll it up, but that then has a softbox on it. The name eludes me right now, so let me see if I can remember as I continue to talk about it. But what we were mentioning last week was actually kind of like these LED ceiling lights. So, like something that you would put on the top of your room to illuminate your entire room, but that they have different temperatures and shades, and also are completely dimmable and come in a like round dish form with built-in diffusion, and they're about like 2 inches thick because they're designed to lay flush against your ceiling. So we were discussing about setting that up as like your main key light and seeing what are the effects of that, which I think should be promising. Like they would probably be pretty good. Oh my god, I just got this weird message on my phone, hence the face. All right, and we're just gonna move past it because I was like, what message is that? But that's such an old calendar thing. Oh, that thing messed me up. All right, but Paul says he loves his Stream Deck XL. You see, Randy is confirming with me, saying Windows HDR does not compare to Apple HDR. I guess that was the much easier way of saying it. But yeah, side by side, I just looked at it and I was like, oh my god. And it goes to show you, like, if I had the dual setup on the Windows computer and I just boot up to that, you really can't tell the difference. But these Apple computers have saved the life of these monitors, and that's why I still find them to be more than adequate. And Randy, you know, like, these are the same screens that I used when we used to play the game at finding the Windex bottle on Peter Gregg's live stream, right? And I would use these same monitors here to be able to pixel peep, so to speak, and just be able to find that. And those are fun times, but that's why they really do punch above their weight. John says, for monitors, I've been using MSI 32-inch curved monitor, 1440 and 160 hertz. Refresh rates is nice, not too wide for my desk. Nice. But you have one monitor, right? Because I one time had a 32-inch television as my monitor. Oh, excuse me. And I really think that was just pushing it to the limit of like, yeah, that's just a bit too big for how close I have it on my desk, right? If it's a little recessed, not that bad, actually pretty good, right? But having it I would say within 2 feet, I would say, you know, within like 20 to 24 inches, a bit much. The ones that I have in front of me here are 23 inches. I would say 26, 27 would probably be the max because I use dual monitors. Now, whether they're curved or not, that might be interesting. That's something that I haven't really thought of. But believe it or not, tech news, right? There are these new monitors that are hitting the market. Right now, they're pretty much oversized and overpriced because of the size and the technology, but that they're actually curvable. So you could actually adjust the curve on them, meaning that the sides of the LCD have these handles and you could adjust the grade of the curvature. Why is this interesting? Because there's certain aspects of computing or gaming that you would prefer to have the wraparound monitor, but then when it comes to video editing and timeline types things, you would probably prefer a flat surface so that you could better judge, you know, the actual timeline in a linear fashion. So that's why having like a monitor that does both is pretty interesting. But I never even, it's just, you know, me thinking about it now, just pondering, I'm like, would I be able to do what I do with one long monitor, right? Like one ultra wide monitor or do I still need two? That's my thought. And another thing, I heard that it's actually good for your vision, for people who are on computers a lot, like myself, to have dual monitors, for the reason that you're actually changing your vision's perspective. So even though this monitor's here, this one's probably within 24 inches of my face or my eyeballs, and the one to my right is much further away. Yeah, so that one's probably, I would say, 3 to 3.5 inches. 3.5 feet away from my face. So the fact that I'm making my eyes adjust to the small text at a different distance and then calibrating it back to this one, so on and so forth, apparently that's good training for the focusing of your eyeballs. But just food for thought. Yeah, A7R, more megapixels. I know, I corrected myself, but thank you, Randy. Says, when do you think there will be an Ecamm Live convention? Actually, I think that will be sooner than you think, Tony, because unfortunately, the way things panned out in this year, 2023, there will not be a People of Video conference the way there was the previous 2 years. It's going to return at an earlier date. I believe it's going to be held in May, but of 2024. So with the time adjustment, they didn't want to try to squeeze in an event in 2023 and then have a quick turnaround within less than 6 months to try to do it like in May in 2024. So they've foregone the 2023 event to better set things up for 2024, which I'm still excited and looking forward to. But because of it, I think, and this is just me thinking, because I don't, even though I have some inside information, it has nothing to do with this. So this is just like shot. I believe that I think that there might be something working in the background of a Ecamm type of event. Now I know that there's one that's being worked on, which is like we've had Leap into live stream. Last year we did Leap into podcast, and then there was I think, what is it, Leap into live selling is the next one that's coming up, and I think that one's coming up pretty soon. So Leap into live selling, which is like a webinar event, basically emphasizing live streaming, but in the live selling aspect for Amazon Lives and things like that. So either it's that, or there might be something else where it's like a Ecamm type of Ecamm fam event or meetup. It's stuff that is asked for, but is it really in the works? That's what I don't know. But has it been, I guess, enunciated by plenty of the Ecamm fam? Absolutely. And it's a good thought that a lot of people are on board with. I just don't know the progressions of it and how they're going about anything like that. But ever since just our last events, it was the axe throwing that we did in Albany when we were there with Gigi, and she set everything up. But it was like an Ecamm sponsored event that Wednesday night when we were up there. And when we did that, it was even then that we were talking about having Ecamm just create their own event. So that's why I said I believe that that's something that's in the works, because it was mentioned even as far back as then. But what is actually happening, that's what I really don't know. So that's the best way I could answer that question. Scott's in the house saying what's up and welcome. And Paul has more information than I do. That's why he's the master moderator. He says doing a live event in headquarters in October. See? Boom. See, like, those are the details that I didn't know. That's why I didn't want to put my foot in my mouth. And I was like, I know that there's something, but I don't know, so I can't say. Kevin's in the house as well, saying hello to all. Says, fans of Lewis have a buy me a coffee link in the description. Want to add? Thank you very much for the new monitor fund. I appreciate that so much. You guys are awesome. That's probably like the message that I got that I'm like, yeah. That I was like, what's going on? And I guess you guys are buying me some coffee. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so very, very much. You don't have to, and the fact that you guys do means so much to me, because it really, going out of your way to show your appreciation is like, it is the most heartwarming feeling. So thank you all for being so amazing. Hey, Kathy's in the house saying hello to the junkies. Look, Paul's even got links. Paul, you're the man. Says I shoot only video, but auto photography is calling me. Oh, astrophotography, I think is what he was saying. Astrophotography is calling me. I like astro. There was a long time I did a lot for my own personal, edification, learning, telescopes, cameras attached to telescopes, so on and so forth. Astro is pretty cool, man. It's a rabbit hole that you can fall into such a deep rabbit hole when it comes to photography, because it is a world all on its own. Like, that's what I love about photography. Like, you really never master photography. So I hear master photographer, I'm like, okay, master in what field? Because they're a master portrait photographer, and they can give you all this reference and information about that, but you ask them about astro and they couldn't tell you nothing, because it is such a completely different monster. So it's cool to, I wish you all the best. If you do have any questions, I will give you, from my own experience, the best that I can, but I know there's plenty of people who know a lot more. But like I said, I will do my best and always answer with my own personal experience or thought. I haven't upgraded yet, being good and paying off a couple of things first. Absolutely. Like right now, I'm going to be working a lot more on my own projects. And, Kevin knocked it out of the park. I took the words out of my eyes. Falcon Eyes. Yes, that was the brand that I could not remember. So you know what? Let's do this. Let's check this out. We're going to create a new scene. And this new scene, no, actually, let's not do it like that. Yeah, we're gonna delete that. We're gonna go back over here, and we're just gonna duplicate this. Should be much easier there. It's unlocked, so now should be able to shrinkificate it. Yes. And then we're gonna add something here. Wrong window there. Yes and yes. All right. So now let's look at that. I think that's how you spell it. But the Roll Flex 3. Here we go. Boom. Okay. All right, Kali. If you're still with us, this is the Roll Flex 3 3rd Gen LED Flex Light. And as you can see, they call it Roll Flex because you can literally roll it. And I think that's how they give it to you as far as like the carrying case. So it's just like a cylinder, almost like if it was a yoga mat, which you would know about. So basically think of a roll-up yoga mat with LED lights on it. You have the ability to add a diffuser in front of it. And this could be the like thinnest profile professional lighting system that you can get that will probably look for your like work for your needs. Let's see what else is here. Yeah, they're literally showing you. Okay, that's not showing you the stuff that I wanted to see. No, this is not the light that we're looking at. Come on, you're showing us the wrong video. But that is the correct light that I was thinking about. So once again, let's thank Kevin for nailing it right on the head and letting us know what I had in mind. Thank you, Kevin. You hooked it up. All right. All right, let's go back here. John says, I have the 24mm f1.4 G Master lens. Seems to work well in low light. With the A7S3, image is still super pixelated when punched in post. Yeah, when punched in, you're not going to get the best pixels because it is 12 megapixels. So that's where the megapixels really do count. That's why some people think or have made videos saying or suggesting that the A7 IV that came out with all the bells and whistles with the new autofocusing, and it's a 33 megapixel camera, has adequate enough low light capabilities. Not as good as the A7S III, but good enough that you could clean it up in post and then punch in and have a sharper image because of the added amount of megapixels, even if it is in low light. So I have seen those scenarios come into play. Something that I'm interested in messing around with, and Gretchen, if she's still here in chat, I believe she has it, which is the Topaz AI, like video upscaler. So it's an artificial intelligence upscaling technology that allows you to take 1080 video and upscale it to 4K. It has a variety of different options, including creating more frames out of the same image. So it will change your frame rate, so to speak, so that you can give it a 4K 30 and say, you know what, make it a 4K 60, or take the same version and make it 4K 120 and slow it down at 50%. and it actually has the ability to upscale it and give you the final results as if you were to have shot it in that way natively. That also has the ability to, I believe that same version, and I don't have it, so that's why I said I need to look into it. I believe that one also has the ability to like clean up grain, you know, through the artificial intelligence to recognize what is digital noise and clean that up to give you an enhanced image from underneath. Like I've seen some instances where they have tried to take really old VHS footage that was kind of damaged and tried to have it repair it. So it's a lot of interesting things that are coming out in the future that could be done in post-production, and because of it, you know, it's gonna allow you to do a lot more with lesser equipment, so to speak. And that could be something that you could look into as well to actually get the most out of the A7S III. If it is pixelated, maybe there's a way to upscale that footage if it is good, to actually give it more resolution so that you can then zoom into it and not lose quality. So let me see what more information I can dig up on that, and that could be something that could help you out in particular. Yeah, Gretchen says we weren't even mentioning Kali's setup when we were talking about this light. No, we weren't. That's why it's so interesting. But I am intrigued. I saw one that's 13 inches, so a 13-inch diameter, which is just a little bit above a foot. You understand? And I'll go back to my C camera over here. I made this light. So, like, I'm going to take this cover off of it right here so you can see how bright it just made me. I made this out of foam core with some magnets to hold it up in place, and I set this up because I really can't find anything low profile to fit there, so I had to make my own. And with that same creative mentality is what I'm thinking about applying one of those, you know, ceiling type of lamps, to see if maybe with that and you know, one of these here. Like one of these articulating arms here, you know, you could just loosen it and change this positioning. So I'm thinking to be able to mount those lights or those ceiling lights onto something like this, attach it to the same cheese plate that I have holding up my camera, and then like basically bypass and or eliminate that light that I've created with something that's a lot thinner, taking less space in the same, you know, spot for my fill light. John says, Randy's actually saying to John, Sony APS-C lens, 11mm or Viltrox lenses. That 11mm really intrigues me. It does, because of the simple fact that with the APS-C, like let's say the ZV-E10 that has that crop factor, right? I think it's still wide enough, giving you like a handheld gimbal like, you know, image stabilization. I was gonna say something with motion, but no. Giving you a gimbal like image stabilization handheld using that, you know, enhanced image stabilization on the Sonys, but being that you're at 11mm so wide, the crop should offset it to be able to be running around like a 16mm lens, which if you had a 16mm wide lens, you know, the equivalent of that on a full frame, and have it stabilized, that's plenty wide. That's great for vlogging. But then there's so many things, because there's so many things that are available. Like, I'm thinking about that new full frame ZV camera. It's E-mount, so you'll be able to use lenses like that that Tamron 20 to 40. That's a compact little lens, man. That's gonna be a versatile little like setup. And that's what I mean. Like, I'm glad right now more than anything, and it's just me, that I do shoot Sony. Not only does it do everything that I needed to do, but Sony is a cool enough company that allows third-party manufacturers to dip their toes in and make more stuff for their ecosystem. Because if it's one thing that I think is going to shoot Canon in the foot right now, is the fact that they just closed the doors to all third-party manufacturers. So you're talking about the Tamrons, the Sigmas, the Viltroxes, the Samyangs, the everything out there that could bolster the reasons why somebody would want to use your camera in the first place, and you're just cutting their legs right out from under them. And that's how I feel about Canon right now. Why they decided to, cut ties with all third-party manufacturers is beyond me. I don't really know, but it's unfortunate for all of the Canon, for all of the Canonites right now, all of the Canon users. Okay, so she's still here. Says, I'll check out your stream from last week. Thanks. No, but it wasn't my stream. I'm sorry. So let me just confirm. It was class with Doc Rock that we were talking about those lights, and it was another Paul that was in there that we were talking about it. So my live stream has nothing, and we'll say nothing about those lights and everything, but I would definitely tell you to look into the Falcon Eyes to see if that one will help you out, because there's just one thing about those ceiling lights that is why I would have to test it out first, which is the flicker rate. And if you were to dim it because it's close so that it's not so bright and you're using the diffusion correctly, but then a lot of these lights, the way that they dim the light itself is by the hertz, not by the amps. So to better explain that is that they literally will remove the amount of times that the light is pulsating per second, which we work on a 60 hertz system. So all of these LED lights at 100% are flickering at 60 pulses per second, which is why we have our cameras and everything, our television set up in those frequencies, or those intervals of frequencies, 60, 120, 240, so on and so forth. But the way that they some companies were to dim their lights is not by literally dimming the light output itself by the wattage, but by removing the amount of flickers per second. And then they'll start, to reduce it. Think of those 60 hertz as percentages, and you remove 20%, 50% of the light output, you're literally removing 30 of the 60 hertz. And then you're having those hertz even lower than that catch on the camera, and that's what we call banding. When it looks like there's a ladder of lights going on, or that they're just constantly moving in the background, all has to do with those hertz and the rates. So Falcon Eyes I would recommend, because you won't have that issue. If you're looking for something outright, I would tell you to wait a little bit, to research a little bit more on those ceiling lights to see if they flicker, and if they don't, that could probably be a viable option as well. All right, Gretchen is over here about to buy some lights from Kali. Says I have a MacBook on a stand with the lid open for a second monitor. I moved it from a third monitor setup and love the simplicity of it. Nice. Like if it weren't for Discord, right? Like John over here messaging saying nice hangout. Right? If it weren't for Discord, I probably wouldn't even have this extra screen here, right? But definitely need these two, mostly for like my workflow and everything like that. Like that has to be done. Now this one is straight for you guys. This little monitor was picked up for the live stream more than anything, just so that I'm able to just do what I'm doing here. And just now a cool tip that I got from Mr. Moderator, which was like kind of like one of those like no-brainer, like why didn't you think of that before, is the fact that now instead of off to my side here, I have my audio levels on this monitor as well. So even though I'm reading your comments, I also have the music set up and all of the audio things and everything in front of me. So if I were to accidentally mute myself, and I were to mute myself and I were to talk and nothing were to come out, I could visually see that there's nothing going out on the live stream and allow me to remedy that problem right away. Kevin also says, looks like Aperture and Godox also have a flexible LED light match. Get ready to spend some money. He says, I have two 27-inch monitors. One is 4K, one is 1080. Dual monitors was a game changer for me. Yeah, dual monitors, man. I've been doing it for too many years that I haven't been able to go back. Now, sometimes I see some people's setups, right? And they look like Cypher from The Matrix with like 8 screens. Sometimes I feel that way myself here, right? When I have, technically, because this is a screen here as well. You know, I'm seeing all the data. So if I stand in this position, I have 4 monitors that are computer monitors, but then having 2 phones, right there, those are an extra set of monitors. When I had like my iPad here, you know, that was just another monitor as well. Just blue light special, so to speak, because there's blue light from LCDs coming at every direction. But man, even back in the day, like when I used to just do the computer repairs and stuff like that, I kind of always needed dual monitors, and it was because of that. So I would have my main computer always on one, and then my second monitor would be my second computer monitor. But if I needed to attach a desktop or a laptop to test anything like that, I would be able to switch the secondary HDMI to the other computer just to see what readouts and everything I was getting. That's basically why I've been using televisions for my computer monitors for like over 10 years, comparative to using standard computer monitors, because not so much today, right? Not so much in today's market or in today's day and age, but let's go back 2009, 2010, right? There wasn't a lot of monitors for computers that had dual inputs, right? Let's say you had an HDMI cable and that's how you were connecting. It was really tough for you to have HDMI or dual HDMI. These televisions gave me the option to have HDMI, dual HDMI, a DVI, right, or VGA DVI connection as well, and through the back, and also component. So back in those days, I had everything connected to like one of these televisions. I mean, I had 2 computers and then like 2 gaming consoles. So I would have like a computer on the VGA, a computer on the HDMI. I would have a PlayStation on the other HDMI, and then I would have like my Xbox 360 with the component high definition running into the component side. So it was like this all compact system, and I had everything all set up on one television unit. And that's why the versatility of having all those extra, IO on the televisions is why I've been using them for so long for all of like my computing needs. Like monitors nowadays are catching up with all the IO and having the ability to connect, like maybe some of them even up to 4 computers, right? Or 4 separate inputs into a monitor. And a lot of them also kind of double dip with having an extra connection for a gaming console, because they realize that they can sell monitors to people with PlayStations that aren't looking for a television because they don't watch television. Like me, I don't really watch TV. I watch YouTube and I make YouTube, but that could just be me. But something leads me to believe that the Camera Junkie crew has a lot more in common with me than just the cameras. And Kevin is saying, has everyone remembered to hit that like button? I appreciate it. Okay, so Paul is also giving that information, saying leap into live stream will be in April. And Gretchen is wheeling and dealing over here about some lights. Thank you very much, sir. It says, I hit that thumbs up when I enter the channel because I know the conversation is going to be enjoyable. Robert, thank you very much. I appreciate that so much. But, the company also has a lot to do with it. So if it weren't for every single one of you who come in here and make this chat and this conversation what it is, I'd be here talking to myself saying, do you like that camera? I do like that camera. I'm just messing, but still, just to show my appreciation that the Camera Junkie crew is very special to me, and so is my Saturday night live stream. This is like my weekly hangout, and that's why I said, like, even today that I didn't have like notes and things like that set up, it's all about just like having a good time, hanging out. I should have had a beer, you understand? Just been like hanging out with the crew. Gretchen saying, I love astrophotography, but it's too dang cold and wet right now. Yeah. Luckily, when I was doing it, I was still doing it here in South Florida. But one thing that I noticed is like every full moon, it's remarkably colder. Like the brighter the moon, the colder the environment, and especially like when it's TDP, right? Top dead center, so to speak, when the moon is just right overhead. So, yeah. Just by the way, happy World Wildlife Day. A day late. So funny. All right. John says, since we're just hanging out, let's do a reverse cities god tonight. If you have a favorite YouTube channel you've been watching lately, toss it in the chat. And that's to all of you. That's to all the Camera Junkies, right? Because I usually bring the channels that I think you should go and watch. So he's putting the challenge out to the Camera Junkie crew tonight. So you can go ahead and put anything in chat, whether it has to do with photography or not, just something that you might be enjoying a lot of, something that I enjoy, that I spend like a lot of time watching kind of in the background, is like lathe work and woodworking on a lathe, right? Or people doing epoxy type of crafts with lathe like implements in it. Like I see people making a bowl out of like bottle caps, and then immersing the bowl in in epoxy, in clear epoxy, or maybe they tint it sometimes, and then they'll put it on the lathe machine and really like refine it and polish it and make these amazing things. A lot of times they do it with like the hard knots and chunks of wood. So those are things that I find like very relaxing. There's no dialogue in the videos that I watch. It's just like the sounds of the machine and the working going on. It's, to me, very soothing and relaxing. And then let's not even get to the fact like I mentioned before, Harry Mack. Harry Mack is another content creator, you know, like rapper that creates amazing content. I feel like his content is like evergreen because I can go back to his original stuff and rewatch it and it's just as good. So it's such an amazing niche when it comes to music and this platform, and he's really taking advantage of it. I believe he's like at 1.5 million subscribers right now and climbing. This dude's gonna just, he's doing so well, and he's, you know, an independent, you know, artist now as well. Not only content creator on many platforms, but artist, where he's doing his own tour and he sets up the events and they handle all the ticket revenues and everything, and it's amazing. He's doing his own production, and some of you might know that I also I would say a stand-up comedy enthusiast, and Dane Cook is someone who did that, and that's a huge part of his success, which was the fact that he took it upon himself to book these huge theaters, sell them out for himself, do all the ticket managing, handling everything, and keeping the majority of the profits. And because of it, he's able to amass what he was able to amass so far. So big ups to him and taking the reins. So there's a lot of power in that. How far behind am I? I need to really check. This says, yes, I have Topaz Suite, includes the video. Haven't really played with it much yet. Getting to see what it does with my infrared video I took in Africa. Nice. Johnny's in the house saying, what up, fam? How are you doing, sir? Thank you for hanging out. Gretchen also says, I have the TT Artisan 11mm f2.8 fisheye. So much fun to use. Really pushes my creativity. And that's for the Canon. And that's full frame. Definitely on the 11. The one that I was mentioning, Gretchen, is actually the Sony 11mm for the APS-C line. They came out with that one and I believe a 16mm to compete with the Sigma 16mm f1.4. So I'm not sure if it's a 1.4 or 1.8. Can't remember right off the top of my head. But the 11mm, actually I think the 16mm is 1.4, the 11mm is 1.8. And 1.8 is plenty fast. And it being APS-C, it has like the crop factor built into it, or with the crop factor in mind, not built into it, so to speak. And having that aspect, it's more of a rectilinear type of lens because it's on the APS-C and it knows that it's cropping in. So that's the one that I'm saying. An 11mm APS-C should act like a 16mm. With the active stabilization built into the Sony cameras, you should be getting a rough like 18, maybe 19mm with the added like crop to it. So a 19mm handheld APS-C stabilized, almost gimbal-like stabilized image. I think that's pretty dope. But the reason why I even references, because anything full frame 11mm is already fisheye territory. And that's why I think that with the APS-C and the crop, you're eliminating a lot of that extra like stretchiness that you would get from the extremely wide angles. Sally says, question, but the Falcon Eyes did not flicker. No, the Falcon Eyes are designed studio lights. They're designed for video. So you won't have to worry about any flicker whatsoever. That's why I emphasize that. If you need something that you need to be sure and right away, the Falcon Eyes, it would be something that I would look into. But if you have some time and you're just messing around with it, those ceiling lights could be a working, like a workaround, because they're extremely less expensive. I'm talking about the one that I saw for 13 inches was like $39. So when you go from like hundreds and hundreds of dollars for studio lights and something that can work for you in your setup, and it's hundreds and hundreds of dollars less, it's something that I definitely want to research a little bit more on, right? And this was brought up through another one of Doc Rock's class members, because he saw a video that was made from a YouTube channel, and talking about the YouTube channel to drop. Oh my god, now I'm running a blank on, because I was gonna say Smarter Every Day, but that's Destin. It's not Smarter Every Day. It's DIY Perks. DIY Perks. Do it yourself perks. And this dude's like a massive pro. And Paul saw the video where he took broken LCD screens that can no longer see an image and remove the LCD panel that's broken off of it, and then just turning it on with the back glow and using that as a softbox type thin light, or in some cases even set them up as an artificial window where you can like put it on its side and dress it up with curtains and have like the light glow coming in. So if you have a rainy day or at night, you can still make it seem like it's daytime, or give a much brighter type of ambiance to a space that maybe doesn't have windows and could be dark. So with that in mind, he started researching that aspect of it and found a friend of his that was getting rid of a lot of broken televisions. And when he said, hey, I'm interested in picking up these televisions to, tinker with in that same mind frame, his friend asked him, why are you buying these televisions? And he mentioned that he was thinking about making like soft boxes out of them. And then his friend goes, oh, you know what? I got these lights that I have no purpose for. And those were like the ceiling lights. And these like 12 by 12, or actually I think 24 by 24 cubes that are designed to be put in for drop ceiling. And that's what he started using to mess around with these lighting effects, and using that as a like makeshift softbox, which led us down the rabbit hole of looking at ceiling lights as practicals or actual key lights or fill lights for our studio setup. So that's exactly where we're at, and that's basically in a nutshell the conversation that we were having last week in Doc Rock's drop squad class. And that's where we are to today. So still haven't tested it, but it's a good, cool idea. It could be very inexpensive alternative to higher price, thin profile lights. Just checking in on Aiden, making sure he's all good. Michael says great stream, but he has to hop out tonight. So do I. We're already past the hour. And you got that right in mind. Let's see how far behind I am. It says, cheers, Camera Junkie. Anton Petrov about astronomy. Nice. So that's one of the channels that I guess Randy's been looking into. John also says that he loves Harry Mack. He's top of his game. I've been watching Kat Mulvihill lately. She's super helpful. Kat is really cool as well. I've been lucky enough to be in contact with her, and speak with her in a couple of situations behind the scene. She's just as amazing there as she is on camera. She's like super cool. Always enjoys speaking and partaking with Kat. Johnny says Primal Video. Yes, Primal Video is great. It says, I've been binge watching Think Media, Roberto Blake, and Doc Rock. Like, I can't say enough about all three of them. Haven't met the Think Media group, but I have met Roberto Blake and Doc Rock, and just super dope. Like, those are things that I never thought I would say myself, that I was just like, man, like, I met Roberto Blake. We're still in the works on it. Don't want to put my foot in my mouth, but since the last event where I spoke with him, he invited me to be part of one of his live streams. So it's something that he's putting together with this other guy. Oh, I'm running a blank because it's getting late right now and words are hard. With Viper, the tech YouTuber Viper. So he's done a lot of live streams with Viper, and he's invited me to be on one of like the tech type of conversations. But that was also before a lot of this AI stuff hit. And if you've been watching Roberto Blake stuff, you know he's now hitting up that AI and dropping a lot of great information on that as well. So is Doc, but you know. But I can't wait to meet Sean and the whole Think Media crew. That's just something that's going to happen, you know, further on in the future. I can't wait. Gretchen says, one of my favorite channels is Letters Live at Live Readers, theater-style actors reading letters from various peoples, famous or not, from history. So funny. Nice. That sounds cool. Oh, man, I'm gonna totally... out myself here, so to speak. Like, something that I found super funny was drunk history. I think that comes from College Humor. Oh my god, like, not all episodes obviously, but the earlier ones, the first ones, those things really made me laugh, because the way that these people would misinform while they were drunk. Hilarious. It says, totally off subject, Jared Haley does some great a cappella music. Nice. Appliance Paul. That's a good one. Appliance Paul. It says Doc Rock. I think I've seen one or two of his streams. Yeah. Haven't we all? But it is 22 past the hour, and as always, I thank you all for hanging out here with me. If you haven't done so already, you might have forgotten. Please be sure to hit that like button. It goes a long way. It's absolutely free and is highly appreciated. We've done it, gang. Another successful Camera Junkie live stream. And you guys are the reason why this is the best place to be every Saturday night. So if you want to repeat this process, just know that we will be doing it all over again. Episode 119 coming up 1 week from tonight. Same Camera Junkie channel, same Camera Junkie place, same Camera Junkie time, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Every Saturday night, and I can't wait to see all of your smiling faces here once again on the Camera Junkie live stream. As always, take care of yourselves and each other, and I can't wait to see you all next week. Have a great night. That didn't go where it was supposed to.